This morning, we're looking at how some police departments are moving forward with reforms on their own, despite the breakdown of congressional efforts to overhaul policing. In the 16 months since the murder of George Floyd, more than 1,300 U.S. people have been killed by police officers. Chris Van Cleve rode along with a special police car stocked with less lethal tools to help officers avoid deadly confrontations.
I'm sending a team with a pepper ball gun.
Police respond to a suicidal man in June. He's got a knife outside the train station in Aurora, Illinois. The officers called for backup from a social worker.
Some less lethal.
And after about an hour, what could have been deadly ended peacefully.
We're not afraid to try new things.
Keith Cross is Aurora's chief of police. The 27-year veteran runs the second largest city police department in Illinois.
The uniform can be a barrier to someone who's in crisis, and they don't see the social worker as a threat. It's been very, very helpful.
Cross became chief 14 months after George Floyd was killed by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Floyd's death and the protests it ignited across the country led to demands for fundamental changes in policing.
Is policing broken?
There's no question that policing needs to change in some very dramatic ways.
All the arrests that are made.
Georgetown law professor Christy Lopez developed de-escalation training now used by at least 175 police departments in the U.S. and Canada.
A lot of state and local jurisdictions have realized they need to step up and they need to be the ones to lead change.
Is that all it was arguing?
We've got to train officers to be guardians, not warriors, to de-escalate rather than escalate force, to prevent other officers from committing misconduct or causing harm.
Got the knife!
For Chief Cross, that better training is the key.
They're going to play like they practice, and so they're going to take things slow if they can. They're going to try and de-escalate. We're going to use the least amount of force that we have to use.
Just go ahead and drop that knife for me, okay?
The department just started using this immersive virtual reality system.
Got one down.
It can simulate the toughest things cops face.
We're going to get you the help you need.
Like how to deal with their own implicit bias, when to use force, and when to back away.
We can teach the officer to not jump to a lethal level. We got some time, if we got some space on our side, let's use that. And if we can end this thing at a non-lethal level, that's a win-win for everybody involved.
We tried the system.
Sir, I'd like to see your hands.
My hands are right here.
And it becomes very real, very fast.
Sir, stay in the car. Sir, stay in the car.
My response during this simulated traffic stop was to draw my gun when the driver unexpectedly got out of the car. The trainer said that was too early and could have provoked what happened moments later, when the driver pulled out a gun.
Whoa, sir, put the gun down. Put the gun down. It becomes real.
It becomes real, and it's good to watch officers go through that to see how they react to that.
Come on, just do it for me. Drop the knife, come on.
You really do get a sense for how quickly you have to decide what you're going to do.
We spent a Friday night shift riding with Officer Wesley Boyer. He's driving one of the department's 16 LL squad cars. The initials stand for less lethal. The units carry things officers can use instead of their sidearms, a gun that shoots pepper balls and another firing hard foam projectiles.
What's the benefit to having the less lethal cars?
The more options, the more decisions that you can make. You can prevent an officer from having to use deadly force.
A recent survey showed 90% of Americans supported more training for police, and departments nationwide are making changes. In June, the NYPD, the nation's largest police department, announced all 35,000 officers will get new de-escalation training. Berkeley, California decided to shift enforcement of minor traffic violations like expired registration to unarmed transportation department workers. And in San Francisco, changing training and policies led to almost 70% fewer instances of use of force by officers.
You don't have to go hands-on. You can use your voice and your presence.
Tracy McCrary is a lieutenant in San Francisco Police Union officer. She says there are always cops who see change as handcuffs, but she sees George Floyd's death as a game changer.
And that's changed the face of policing. And either you're going to get on board with that, or this isn't the profession for you.
Nationally, departments have seen retirements jump by 45% and resignations spike by 18%, while the officers staying on the beat are being asked to keep the peace while keeping pace with change. For CBS Mornings, I'm Chris Van Cleve in Aurora, Illinois.
It looks like they're onto something in Aurora, but you have to have buy-in from the police officers, too.
And you don't always. It's interesting when the chief there says, you know, get with it or get out, and then you see that nationally a lot of people are retiring or resigning.
Yeah, it's good to see those less lethal vehicles, but I do have family members that work as police officers, They tell me about these confrontations, and they get intense like that. But as long as they have de-escalation tactics, I think they'll have less deaths.
You know, they have seconds to respond. Seconds.
It's
They
a very
have to make
tough
a
job.
decision.
Very tough.
It is a very difficult job.